Hello class, I am Miss Juana Paula Pibiabe and I am your teacher for today's lesson. And before we go to our proper lesson, let's first have our at least two sets of game. Are you ready? Because I am.
Okay, but before we go to that too simple game, let me tell you the mechanics. So you'll be just guessing the term or the word that will be related with our lesson title for today based on the presented picture in the screen. Okay, let's start. First up, what could this be? One, two, and three. Oh, very good. That's technology. And down to the last one. Hmm. What could this be? One, two, three. Very good. That's stitching. And by these two pictures, we have the technology enhanced stitching lesson exemplars. This would be our discussion or a lesson for today's learning. Okay, but first, before we dive into the proper lesson, let's first have our learning objectives. Okay, all right. Mhm. The students will be able to define the concept of technology enhanced teaching exemplars, identify technology enhanced teaching exemplar significance as a teaching method, determine the domains of technology enhanced teaching exemplars, and lastly, elaborate the ways to enhance the lesson planning for effective teaching. Okay, let's go now to the proper lesson. Okay, the definition of this. So, the technology enhanced teaching lesson exemplars, it refers to the use of technology to maximize the student's learning experience, which means to say that it describes or it is used to describe the application of technology to teaching. It is also designed for learning and teaching due to the fact that learning have changed all throughout the years. We cannot deny that fact, right? Especially now because of the existence of our very own technology, which helps the teachers to teach the lesson effectively and efficiently. Okay, moving forward, we have here the significance. So what's the immense role of this technology when it comes to teaching lesson exemplars? So technology have helped explicitly in teaching. Just like for example the blackboard, the Moodle, and the canvas. So these three examples, these are just few of the ways which the teaching is being delivered or discussed effectively by the use of technology, because by using the blackboard, the Moodle, and the canvas, the teacher is able to discuss his or her lesson efficiently and successfully. So the technology enhanced teaching lesson exemplars, it increased educational productivity by accelerating the teaching, reduce the costs associated with instructional materials or program delivery, and also it utilizes better teaching time of the teacher. So let's elaborate this paragraph pertaining to the significance of our lesson for today. So, technology does help the teaching field of a teacher, for it increases educational productivity by accelerating the teaching, such that just like when discussing the lesson to your student, just like what I've told you a while ago, you or me as a teacher will be more attentive to the information I am sharing with you guys. Also, technology reduces the costs associated with instructional materials. Just like for example, okay, let's have an example in order for you guys to see the what I am trying to say here. Okay, years ago, just like for example, let's say when we were just in our elementary years, us as the elementary students, and we are studying particularly in public institution. Just like me, I came from a public institution. Our teachers, they were using lots of manila papers, cartolina with the flip tip pen, with an expensive ink and other materials that involve money. However, as the technology exists, with the help of technology now, our teachers can just have their visual aids in a PowerPoint presentation, or a PowerPoint presentation form, just like what I am doing right now. I am using this instead of me using the manila paper that is that serves as my visual aid for me to discuss a lesson. Okay? No need to spend money anymore, or maybe we could spend money but not that much, or not that much unlike in the past. And also, the technology utilizes better teaching time of the teacher. For instance, PowerPoint presentation, just like what I've told you a while ago, the teacher could use this to simply formulate and create her, or let's say for example me, I can just formulate and create my visual aids with, because all I need is the content, or the lesson, or the information of the lesson that I'll be sharing, just like what I am doing right now, and the creativity, which surely saves my time. The creativity that I am trying to say here is the theme, the color of the presentation. Just like now, I my theme, or the color I am using is for my presentation, or for my visual aid, is the are the colors, the black and the black and the white. Okay, for for the visual excitement of you guys, pertaining, or seeing these slides that can that could have an impact on the interest that you have while me discussing the lesson, and while you listening to my discussion. Okay, now let's move on to the domains. According to Stusek of the year 2015, there are three domains for the educational technology. First is the technology as tutor, where technology can support the teacher to teach another person, or technology when programmed by the teacher. I know for sure you've seen lots or some of the content creators, especially in TikTok, that are educators in different field or expertise, right? Let set those as our example. Because of the technology's existence, they are no longer in need of actual students for them to teach in an actual time. They could just film their content, just like let's say for example their content is about grammar. Teacher Ayin, she is, or the society labeled her as the human dictionary, right? Because she do she does this content creation that is about English, about the grammar, about the vocabulary. So that's the example of the content creator that has a particular expertise. Okay, so she don't need an students in an actual time, just like in the face to face. She could just film herself discussing her desired content for her viewers, especially the students, to see, which the students will be surfing the internet about such information, and from that content of Miss Ayin, the students will be able to gain more knowledge about, like for example, the grammar and the vocabulary, right? Okay, the second one is technology as a teaching tool, used to facilitate the work of the teacher. By the help of technology, teachers could now have their assessment for their student through a Google form, just like what we are doing now. When we like when we have or when we are taking our quizzes or examination, our teachers or they are they use the ano na they are using the Google form instead of a examination sheet, because knowing the fact that we are still in the pandemic era, so we are, in the setting of online class, right? And lastly, for the domains, technology as a learning tool, which means it makes the learning easy and effective, and also it can produce learning outcomes. They call for technology assisted teaching. Technology helps students to access information, right? When having a hard time scanning a, let's say for example, physical book about their assignment, for instance. Just like us, when we have our research study, it'll be easy for us to congregate or to gather such information, or for example, they review related literature or the RRL in that is inside or included in our research study or research paper, in order for our study to be justified and elaborated. So that's the three domains of educational technology. And let's dive to the ways to enhance lesson planning. There are 10 ways suggested or recommended, 10 ways to enhance lesson planning. First is the lesson organization, which the computers help to better organize and present your information. Technology provides enormous support to the teacher as the facilitator of learning, due to the fact that it will give the teacher more information and relevant ones about the lesson the teacher will be discussing in an organized and detailed manner. And the second is visual aids. Internet provides more opportunities than ever to find relevant images, so the teacher or so you can give students a concrete context about the topic. Technology improves teaching and so as the learning process and ways of teaching. We cannot deny the fact that there are learners who could understand the texts or the idea of the topic by seeing a related picture, for they can understand more what the teacher is talking all about when there is an image they are looking at, because it is factual naman. Just like me, I am better when when analyzing things if there is a visual percentage. Just like for example this one, it is a visual. Okay, for you guys to better analyze and better contextualize what I am trying to say here. And third is the videos. It is for example, a short and entertaining instructional video is a great way to get students excited about learning or when learning. Through video or film watching, the teacher quickly introduces a new lesson or what activity the students would do right after. Also, the video is the teacher's presentation, entertains and excites the learners, which makes them attentive and participative in the discussion or whole throughout the discussion. Okay, the fourth one is the class reading. Reading aloud in the class from a challenging text, particularly, may support the development of the learner's spoken language comprehension and therefore contribute to their reading comprehension skills. Yes. There are many ways to help students to boost his or her self-esteem or confidence, and one of which is letting them read a text aloud in the class. Reading the text aloud makes the student confident, or at least the student could feel confident, and it enables the student to develop his or her reading ability so as her text comprehension when she is reading or when he is reading a text aloud inside the class. Okay, the fifth one is technology. I mean, the board work. You can easily project your computer screen onto the board while still retaining the functionality of a traditional classroom whiteboard. Here is the explanation. Because technology supports teacher development, just like providing a board work for the students to answer. By this, the teacher learns and develop more in the field of technology because of his usage and exposure. Okay, because of the exposure of the teacher to the technology, the teacher will gain his or her let's say for example additional knowledge about the technology, or particularly the computer, on how to maneuver it or how to use it properly and literately. So the sixth one is the games, which the educational games are a great way to reinforce or evaluate your lessons and so as engage your students. Okay, so games in line with technology has modernized the teaching and learning environment because educational games help the teacher to, just like what I've said, it helps to assess and evaluate the student, whether the student understands his or her the discussion, or where the student really understands what is the lesson is all about, or the teacher is talking all about. Okay, the seventh one is the research. Computers enable students to quickly and easily collect information from a wide range of credible online resources. Students can also use local library web pages to more efficiently research for relevant hard copies sources. Okay, so technology opens new field in educational researches, for it enables the teacher to conduct a challenging tasks, research study, or even an action paper, for instance, because it is undeniably, or it is obviously that there are I mean there that is obvious that there are tons of information about phenomenological events in particular that is happening inside or outside the world. So technology is a great help, like especially as the teacher and you students, because when getting some information, there are tons of information in the internet. By the help of technology, there's an internet, right? So with that, it is easier for all of us to congregate, to examine such information about our topic or about a particular lesson. The eighth, okay, one is the presentations. Okay, teachers can present their topics or lesson by using tools such as Microsoft Publisher to create bookmarks, the brochures, the posters, or postcards. The presentation boosts teachers' creativity and resourcefulness by planning keenly what information to put or what coverage of the topic to include first, or okay, let's say or what theme to apply in order to have a good and nice presentation by using any PowerPoint presentation application, or the to be specific, the Microsoft Publisher. Okay, the ninth one is the communication and feedback. This encourages questions and dialogue about classroom assignments. It also enables teacher to give immediate feedback on any project or assignment or tasks. Technology makes it easy for the teachers, students, or even for the stakeholders to communicate and give feedback. For instance, our Google Classroom. Our Google Classroom is one of the ways to ask your teacher whenever you are having a hard time understanding the teacher's instruction about the activity, or even if the teacher wants to talk to the parent or stakeholder. By the help of technology, he could just call them right away, or just one click for the teacher to call the teacher or the stakeholder, especially now that we're still in the pandemic era. Technology is a great help indeed for the field of communication. And lastly, for the ways to enhance lesson planning is the grades. So, at the end of every quarter or semester, right, or the academic school year, the involvement of the grade is there, or in education, the involvement of the grade will always be present. Okay, rather than recording grades on individual papers and in a grade book, just like in our elementary, and just me when I was in my high school years, my teachers were found on, or they are required to write down the grades of us, the students, in a report card or Form 138A. And then sending out paper report cards at the end of each term, okay? Just like what I've said. Teachers can post the grades in an online portal that is accessible to both the students and the parents. Okay? So lastly, the technology. It also plays a role in grades. Because of this, it is easy, or it is easier for the teachers to have the students grade in every subjects or courses. Let's take our reality now as our example. We can go to our campuses just for us to see our grades. We can go to our schools just for us to see our grades, right? But because of technology, we could still see our grades through our campus's online student portal. We could access our grades in just a few clicks. So just like now, like it is relevant to the college student now, that they could just visit the student portal in order for them to see their grades, so as their class schedule. Oh, so with if you do have a internet connection, a registered student portal in your campus, and cell phone or any gadget that has an access to the student portal website of yours, you could just in a few clicks, or even just in a one click, you have a great opportunity to see your grades, or so as your schedule, through the access of the technology that we have. So indeed, our technology plays a vital role, especially in the teaching enhanced planning or lesson planning.
By and these ways of technology enhanced teaching exemplars, we can really say that the technology's existence is a great help in the field of education, especially when it comes to teaching and learning. Before I end this presentation of mine, I'd like to remind us all, yes, including my very own self, to be literate and keen enough when using technology at all times. It has been your teacher Joanna Paula Pibiabe till our next lesson discussion. Thank you for listening and let us all enjoy learning.